It is Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. It is time for another mailbag segment where you guys send us questions, and you may be wondering, how do I take part in the mailbag show? Well, if you're subscribed to the channel, then you would know about our live shows that we do each and every Wednesday where we answer your questions in real time. So here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on your notifications so you can be informed of the latest Seahawks watch parties, live shows, breaking news, and everything in between. Heck, folks, even on Sunday, even though the Seahawks aren't playing, I'm going to be hosting our Red Zone channel on our main Chat Sports feed, and we're going to simulcast that here on Seahawks Today because we care about you guys, and we want you to still be involved in a Sunday. We don't want you to be left out. So turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the latest happenings with your Seattle Seahawks. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. The questions are rolling in. First one from Brandon. What will it take for the Hawks to make it to the, I think that means NFC Championship game? What will it take? Well, first off, I said last week that the Eagles were the number one issue of getting to the NFC Championship game. They just suffered their first loss to the Washington Commanders. The 72 Dolphins had a party, and they were celebrating like old times and all that. But even with that said, I still think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now. And so I look at that, what will it take to get to the NFC Championship game? Luckily, you don't have to probably go through the Eagles to get there. The Eagles will be there. It's who you're going to have to face to get there. And for me, I think once you get past the Eagles, it is wide open in the NFC. I think the Giants, the Cowboys, the Vikings, Seattle, San Francisco, there's not much of a gap between all of those teams there. So what will it take? Staying healthy, playing good football, running the ball well, doing what you're supposed to do. That's what it's going to take. So not playing the Eagles and getting there, that will help. Next question from Standard Oil. Will the Seahawks pick up Jordyn Brooks' fifth-year option? So Jordyn Brooks, it's interesting. I've heard some slander on the interwebs about Jordyn Brooks. And I know that Pro Football Focus doesn't like the numbers on Jordyn Brooks. And, you know, Pro Football Focus has never been a fan of Jordyn Brooks for whatever reason. So the analytics aren't a fan of Jordyn Brooks. But what I can tell you of just pure numbers is that Jordyn Brooks is a tackling machine. And here's the deal. If the Seahawks were not confident in Jordyn Brooks, would they have let go of Bobby Wagner? That tells me everything I need to know. The fact that the Seahawks moved on from Bobby Wagner tells me they are all in on Jordyn Brooks. So, yes, I think they're going to give him his fifth-year option, and I think that they're going to give him another contract after that. So, should the Seahawks extend Jordyn Brooks, should they give him the fifth-year option and then another contract after that? I believe they will. What say you? You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Type S for sign, type P for pass if you think the Seahawks should extend Jordyn Brooks and give him another deal. Let me know. S for sign, P for pass in the comments section. That Fat Rat wants to know, what can you compare between the 2014 Seahawks and the 2022 Seahawks? So the 2022 Seahawks, we've mentioned this has been a fun year for this team of what they've been able to accomplish. And when you go back to 2014, that was the year, obviously, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, 12-4 record, won the the NFC West, finished in first place that year, and that group was so good defensively, one of the best defensive teams of all time, quite frankly. And to me, as far as comparison goes, I think it's not necessarily fair to compare this group to a team that won the Super Bowl back in 2014. But what you can point to is that the foundations of the two, what it took to get that 2014 team to the Super Bowl compared to what this 2022 team looks like, of the foundations that are being built are very similar in that sense. So for me, That's what I look at, is at its core, how the pieces are coming together are very similar. That the Seahawks want to run the football. They want to have a great defense. That's what they did in 2014. They're trying to do it again in 2022. So to me, that's where I compare the two as far as that goes. I don't think it's realistic to ask them to be the expectation of what that 2014 was, because that was the greatest Seahawks team of all time. But that, to me, is where I look at necessarily of where I do compare. The foundations are very similar. Today's show is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is a project based on historic Scottish customs, where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title, Lord or Lady, on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. It makes for a great last-minute gift. First 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a Lord or a Lady, we can build our own little Seahawks Today kingdom. Established Titles is actually running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use the code CHAT, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and help support the channel here at Seahawks Today. That's establishedtitles.com/chat to get yours now. I already got mine. I am now Lord Tyler Jones. You can be a Lord or a Lady as well. Next question coming in from Apex. Wants to know, hashtag Seahawks, how scary are the 49ers with McCaffrey, and how much of a threat are they to stopping the Seahawks from winning the division? Well, I got to tell you this. The Seahawks adding in, or the 49ers rather, adding in Christian McCaffrey was a big deal for that team. They did give up a lot, but McCaffrey is still in his prime, and he is a very talented football player. And this Niners team, with not having Trey Lance this year and going with Jimmy Garoppolo, they needed a spark. They needed some pieces. They got their spark, and they're playing better football. So, for me, I think that this is a toss-up in the division. I think things could go either way. That San Francisco already beat Seattle once without Christian McCaffrey, and now you add him into the fold here. San Francisco is going to be a problem to deal with. I think this is going to come down right to the very end between both of these teams. San Francisco, I think their worst football of the year is behind them. So, how scary? I'd say very scary. I could see this going either way. Who will win the NFC West? Will it be the Seahawks or will it be the 49ers? It's not going to be the Cardinals, and it's not going to be the Rams. They're out. See ya. It's going to be one of these two teams. Will it be the Seahawks or the Niners? Type C for the Seahawks. If it will be the Niners, and you say the Niners, I won't hold it against you. You're just trying to be honest. Let me know in the comment section. Type SF for San Francisco. C for Seattle, SF for San Francisco. Next question, hashtag Seahawks. I never forgave Suh for deliberately stomping Russell Wilson's ankle. He's a POS. That's why he has to keep moving. So we talked about it of possible free agent targets for the Seahawks if they should bring in Ndamukong Suh or not. Obviously, that was a terrible moment. But, as they say, bygones be bygones. If Ndamukong Suh wants to come to Seattle, I think you can't let that moment from however many years ago still be a point of emphasis of sorts. I mean, that enough time has passed. I don't think now that's a big deal. If he and Russ were teammates, that'd be one thing. But Russ isn't there anymore. I understand your frustration, but to me, that's not the end of the world personally. But I see where you're coming from. Matthew writes, hashtag Seahawks, top defensive position, need to fill in the draft. And offensive, I'm thinking D-tackle and right guard. Okay. So what are the top positions to fill? I think you got a great point. I think it's the offensive line, those guard spots. I'd add in the center position too. Defensively, the defense tackle spot is a big one. I also think middle linebacker. Beyond Jordyn Brooks, quite frankly, Cody Barton isn't good enough to get the job done going forward beyond this year. I would find a way to replace him if I can. But those are the positions that come to mind, quite frankly. Quarterback, Geno has played well enough that you don't have to take a quarterback right away in this draft, comparably speaking to what people thought at one point in time. Aaron writes, Aaron Sanchez, Rich Eisen said this week that Geno can lead the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Do you agree? So Rich Eisen, who's one of my favorite people covering the NFL, does an incredible job on the NFL Network. He was on his radio show, and he called the game on NFL Network the other day when the Seahawks were playing in Germany, and he said that he believes that Geno can take the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Do I agree? Can it happen? I mean, it could happen. Will it happen? I don't know. Still a lot of factors involved here. And that Eagles team, I'm telling you, that's what's the biggest concern of me is trying to get through that Philadelphia Eagles team that's so good and that's so strong. So could it happen? It could, but let's take things 1 week at a time, one game at a time. Buy or sell the Seahawks as Super Bowl contenders this year. Type B for buy, type S for sell. Let me know what you're feeling if you buy the Seahawks as Super Bowl contenders in 2022. Tom and Trent, I want to know, do we restructure Tyler Lockett to create more cap space to get more help on the O-line or D-line next year? Yeah, if he's willing to work with that, of course, you find a way to restructure him. That contract is not ideal, personally. Going forward, Tyler Lockett's a very good football player, but, when it comes to cap space and working with, putting this team in the right position going forward, it would be nice if they could find a way to maneuver some things. And I wouldn't ask Tyler Lockett to necessarily take a pay cut, but try to work around what you can of that cap space to kind of keep everybody happy and give this team more flexibility. So, yes, that does make sense. John writes in, greetings from Australia. Hey, we were outcoached by San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Hard to argue otherwise. The San Francisco game, definitely they were outcoached. The Tampa Bay game, I didn't like the decision from Pete Carroll to not go for it on that fourth down in the first half. To me, I thought that was a turning point in the football game. So I disagree to those decisions. Otherwise, I think Pete Carroll's done a really good job this year. But, John, you make a good point. And say hello to everybody out there in Australia. The Summer of Jones is getting started in Australia right now, from what I hear. Click Master writes in, best moment of the Seahawks season so far. Jeremy Chugg's trying to get me to read that whole name. The best moment of the season so far. Obviously, beating Russell Wilson week 1 was awesome. But for me, I felt like the two coming out parties of sorts for the Seahawks. The Chargers game beating Justin Herbert on the road, that was a big effing deal. And then the Giants game, the Giants are going to be a playoff team, and beating them and dominating them the way they did, to me, those were awesome moments, besides just the obvious of beating Russell Wilson week 1. What was your favorite moment of the season so far? As we are halfway through the year at the bye week right now, what was your favorite moment? Let me know in the comments section below what comes to mind, your favorite moment of 2022. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, and I'll see you right here next time here on Seahawks Today. Have a great one.